be honest with ourselves. The offseason has been a little bit too long, and we've got a couple more months to go until the 2025 NFL season. So coming up on today's show, I'm going to break down some surprising changes to the starting lineup from last year to this one because the draft has happened, free agency has happened, some trades has happened. We're going to break it all down on today's show. Before we get into any of the content, though, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. It's free to do. All you got to do is hit that big red sub button. And if you hate the Chiefs report, that's all the more reason to subscribe today because we're battling them all through May, and they have an 8-sub lead currently. I just need 10 loyal, diehard Baltimore Raven fans to hit that sub button and join us right here on the Ravens Rundown. All right, let's start with some lineup changes to the coaching staff because weirdly enough, it was a pretty active offseason for the Ravens coaching staff. They made a lot of pretty big changes, starting with the hiring of Chuck Pagano. He spent time in Baltimore before. We all know him probably most likely as the former head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. He was a senior defensive assistant and secondary coach, or is going to be the senior defensive assistant and secondary coach. And I think mainly he's just going to be a new voice, a veteran voice for Zach Orr for this entire defensive staff because there's been a lot of changes with it. Chris Hewitt was let go after 13 seasons in Baltimore, and Mark DeLeone, Sam Koch, and Doug Mallory also were let go. DeLeone had 1 season, same with Mallory, and Koch had been here for 3 seasons in Baltimore. Chris Hewitt was the biggest departure by far, though. Okay, he's been with this team for a very, very long time, and I think this is just a switch up because Orr wants to get his guys in, and I love it because of that, okay? Zach Orr deserves to get his guys in there, right? You gave the reins to a really young coach who struggled in his first, 11 weeks of the season, but then made a massive turnaround, made a massive shift, and now you're looking into year 2 and expecting another big one. But I think he said to John Harbaugh, he said to Eric DeCosta and said, guys, if you guys want me to be the defensive coordinator of the future for this team, to be at my full best, I need to bring my guys in here, okay? Or more rather, I need to let the guys that were with me last year that maybe didn't gel well with this team, I need to let them go, okay? I need to be a part of this process. There's the coaching staff as it sits right now. No big changes up at the top. Still got Harbaugh or Munkin and Chris Horton in the special teams room. But I want to ask you guys, okay, before we get into the depth chart and players themselves, what's your confidence level in that coaching staff? Scale it 1 to 10 for me. You're going to have a lot of Harbaugh coming up because he just signed that 3-year extension. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. Let me know your answer by scaling your confidence 1 to 10 in the comment section down below. No surprises right here. Lamar Jackson will be the starter at quarterback this season. A little bit of a difference with Cooper Rush being the backup. But regardless, I'm expecting another phenomenal year for LaMarvelous at that QB1 spot. Let's talk about the running back rotation because this is something I feel like might change a little bit in 2025. The current look of the running back room looks like this. Derrick Henry as that RB1, obviously, who, congrats, made that $30 million deal official today, signing on the dotted line. Then you got Justice Hill in that RB2 spot and Keaton Mitchell in that RB3 spot. And what I really, really love about Justice Hill, even though, yes, I get it, that is Rashad Bateman in that background picture. That's on me. He's really, really great both on the ground and through the air. 500 combined yards, actually 600 combined yards between the two of them, 42 catches, 47 carries, 228 yards on the ground, 380 yards through the air. But Keaton Mitchell is what makes this incredibly interesting, okay? Because his year in 2023 was phenomenal. 8.4 yards per carry, which is the highest in the National Football League for anybody who had 40 carries or more. He had 2 touchdowns at 30-plus yards. He had 170-plus yards and 2-plus touchdowns on his first 10 carries. And then week 9, obviously, we all remember that game. He went off for 9 carries, 138 yards and a touchdown as well. So we've seen the potential with Keaton Mitchell to be the RB2 on this roster. So that's going to be the massive question mark. Right? Did he improve enough injury-wise because he tore his ACL in that 2023 season and didn't quite make it back to full strength? Last year, you only saw him sparingly, and he wasn't himself. So is he going to make that jump up to be that RB2 this next year and take over for Justice Hill? Because Keaton Mitchell at the end of the day is probably just more of a solid running back, where Justice Hill helps a little bit more in the pass-catching realm. The biggest question of the offseason, though, is these two guys right here. Who's going to be this team's tight end one? Is it going to be Isaiah Likely or is it going to be Mark Andrews? They had really interesting seasons in 2025 because one of them started off really hot in Isaiah Likely, and the other one took a little while to get going in Mark Andrews. Andrews ended the season with more catches, more yards, a better average, more touchdown, and more receptions of 20 plus yards. But to add to the interesting element of this position battle and this position all season long is both Likely and Andrews are on contract years. So both of them will be playing for an extension with Baltimore or a contract with a brand new team when they hit free agency. So that's going to add a little bit of spice to it. My prediction, though, when it comes to this room, I think Mark is going to be the starter. I think game one, formation one, you're going to see number 89 out there. But I think as the year goes on, I would not be surprised to see Isaiah Likely take over the majority of the snaps, take over the majority of the reps, and get the majority of the targets and catches in that tight end room in 2025. You let me know who starts. Is it Mark Andrews or is it Isaiah Likely? If you think it's Mark, give me an 89 in the comment section down below. And if you think it's Likely, give me an 80. Let's talk offensive line. This is how it sits right now, and this is kind of how I expect it to be when the time rolls around for that week one game. Ronnie Stanley, Andrew Voorhees, Tyler Linderbaum, Daniel Fa'alele, who's looked really great in some workout photos recently, and Roger Rosengarten. I will say when it comes to Emory Jones, he was your third-round selection, and I would expect him to maybe compete to start, but he is hurt. Okay, Bo Smolka is the one who broke the news a couple weeks ago saying that Emory Jones is dealing with a labrum issue. They aren't going to push it with him, probably won't play until training camp. That's some valuable reps that he's going to miss throughout minicamp, throughout rookie minicamp, throughout OTAs. All of those things he's not going to be there for. If he was, I think he could possibly compete to start, but because he's missing all of that time, I don't think he will. Let's go on to the defense now because it was an off-season full of changes. Whether that's injuries, new players, new signings, just a whole kind of new look for this defense. On the front four, I don't think it'll change too much when it comes to who the starters are going to be. Yeah, Kyle Van Noy in that left outside linebacker, that edge rusher spot. On the right side of that edge rusher spot, Sadafe Owe. And on the interior, Travis Jones and Nnamdi Menabike. Not going to be surprised at all if those are the four starters rolling into week one. However, I do think Mike Green starts as just a rotational pass rusher. Just kind of a third down type pass rusher. I wouldn't be surprised, like I kind of said earlier about Isaiah Likely, is if the season goes on, he's taking a little bit more of those reps earlier in the game and kind of through week 10, 11, 12 later in the season as he develops, as he grows in the National Football League. But I just think all the experience that Owe have and, of course, that Kyle Van Noy has, I don't think Mike Green is going to start week one over either of those guys. You did add John Jenkins over the weekend, the experienced nose tackle most formerly with the Las Vegas Raiders. Last year, he played in 16 games, 21 tackles, 2 tackles lost, 2 quarterback hits. None of those stats were like blow your mind, pop off the page. But the fact that he played in 16 games, I'm really, really excited about because we know we needed some depth at that nose tackle position. Kind of the tight end of the defense when it comes to position battle-wise, I think it's going to be really interesting for this inside linebacker room. As it sits right now, I think the starting linebackers are going to be Roquan Smith and Trenton Simpson. They were the starters last year, but if you remember correctly, Trenton Simpson started 15 snaps over the last 4 weeks of the season. He did not play at all in the final 4 weeks. It was kind of really interesting. You saw a lot of Chris Harrison. You saw a lot of Malik Harrison and Chris Board. You saw a lot of those two guys. Unfortunately, they left in free agency, but you added in Teddy Buchanan. And if he makes a really strong push during these OTAs, during training camp, I'm not shocked if he starts either. He's incredibly athletic. Every time he goes to get a running back after the line of scrimmage, behind the line of scrimmage, it looks like he got shot out of a cannon. He's also has some upside and some pass rushing as well. He's great in coverage. This dude has an incredibly high ceiling. And if they ended the season so sour on Trenton Simpson and Teddy Buchanan comes in here and really impresses, not shocked at all if he's the starter come week one. Who starts, do you think? We're going to ask this question again, this time about these two. Trenton Simpson or Teddy Buchanan? Let me know in the comment section down below by typing their initials. So if you think it's Simpson, give me a TS. If you think it's Buchanan, type TB. A guy who we're pretty positive is going to be starting on week 1 is the first-round draft pick. That is Malaki Starks. You can get his jerseys right now at Chat Sports. Go to chatsports.com/Starks. They're going to be in that 24, not going to be in the 1. But I think you're going to want to get a jersey as quickly as you can. These things have been flying off the shelves. Everybody's going to be wearing them in M&T Bank Stadium, and I think you should as well. If you go to chatsports.com, you get to support the Ravens, you get to support Malaki Starks, and you also get to support the show right here at the Ravens Rundown. Get dripped out with a guy who's going to be on this team for a very, very long time. Going to make a ton of impact plays in 2025. And all this is an investment in the future for yourself, the fans. Chatsports.com/Starks is where you got to go. That link is in the comments and description of today's video. So the defensive back room has shifted a ton. And that's not necessarily because of anything that's happened like position-wise, like battle-wise. It's because of the injury to our Darius Washington. Because of that, Kyle Hamilton shifts back to free safety. Malaki Starks shifts to strong safety. That moves Marlon Humphrey back to the nickelback, like inside corner, slot corner position. Nate Wiggins and Chidobe Awuzie are going to be the outside corners. I think that's how it sits right now. There will still be times where you bring in a safety for Kyle Hamilton, shift him down to the nickel, shift Marlon down to the outside, and Chidobe Awuzie goes to the bench. But I think this is probably the lineup they feel most confident in. This is the lineup basically they ran with last year, except Malaki Starks is now in for Darius Washington because Darius Washington got hurt, and Malaki Starks was the first-round selection. However, I would still keep on the lookout for a free agency signing. Still some really good free agents available in Justin Simmons, Julian Blackman. There's a lot of guys that are still out there that I wouldn't be shocked if Zach Gore in this front office went and got. Let's run this out with some specialists, okay? Tyler Loop, I still think, is going to be the starting kicker. Jordan Stout will stay as your starting punter. Nick Moore, your long snapper. Look for LaJohntay Wester to be the returner for this team. The 6th-round pick out of Colorado, extremely quick, extremely shifty. I think he's going to be a phenomenal returner. You already saw him take some returning reps when it was in rookie minicamp. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end of today's video. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. Both those links will be in the comments and description of today's video. Joey Petersen Day is where you got to go. I tweet about the Ravens every single day, so find me on there. I'm a great follow, and also subscribe. Follow us right here at the Ravens Rundown. We're trying to grow every single day and need you guys to help us do so. We'll see you next time.